Okay, so here's her before. As you can tell, she has quite a bit of hair. She has a really pretty natural shape to her brows. And we're just going to make them more symmetrical. So here I am with a ruler. I like to use a ruler as a guide. You guys have probably seen all the brow shaping tools out there. So I wanted to take a moment to talk about my approach to brow shaping tools and why I use what I use. My approach to these tools is to help aid me in getting an initial rough shape to work with. The thing to understand is that they are just tools. They won't magically create the perfect brow shape for you. I feel like some artists place too much emphasis on tools and not enough on the actual artistry. Maybe this is because of my background in makeup, I'm not sure. I just feel like relying entirely on a tool to get your finished product will produce a one-size-fits-all brow that is a bit cookie cutter and not really ideal for every client's unique facial features. The goal to brow shaping is training your eye. So I had put some pencil on a quarter of the ruler that I'm using. I like using a ruler because it's stiff, it gives me a straight line. The string always gets everywhere on my fingers. It's all over my client's face. I'm not really a fan of it. I know a lot of people like it. So I start off at the front of the brow and I'm using my pencil at a 45-degree angle with my left hand holding the skin down very taut. If you notice, I kind of let go of the skin and then I hold it down. The purpose of this is because I want to be able to understand the natural bone structure, the natural curvatures of the skin. I don't want to hold it down like a flat piece of paper when she's going to sit up and she's not a flat piece of paper. My touch is very light. I usually touch only from 3 spots. My left hand, it's only my pointer finger and my thumb, and my right hand is my pinky. Just kind of filling in the brow. I'm going to use a little bit of concealer right at the brow bone. Clean up the tail a little bit. Basically, I'm looking for any adjustments. I just want a more cleaner line. So I'm looking for anything kind of missing. A lot of artists like to just do the outline, especially microbladers, so you can see the direction of the hair and the pattern. I think that it's really hard to see if this is an ideal shape for the client. So I like to fill it in to be able to see if this is an optimal shape, if it's symmetrical. So I'm just using the concealer to kind of clean off that bottom line. I'm connecting it right in the center. If you notice, I'm making a slight V. The purpose of that is to connect the brow and make sure that the bottom lines are even. There's a slight curvature in that area of the brow, so if you make a complete straight line, it may not be true. It may appear unnatural because it will go against the natural curvature of her bone. So I'm going to take a Q-tip and kind of clean off. So now I'm going to take a black pencil and fill in from the bottom, moving my way up, kind of getting a little bit more saturation in the brow. I like the bottom line really defined so I don't lose my shape. So I like to go back and forth from brown and black to kind of create the perfect color, the perfect shade of dark brown. These are just the China pencils. So here I'm using concealer a little bit more just to kind of get a nice clean line. Again, I'm using it at a 45 and not a 90 degree. Don't do the 90 degrees. It's very uncomfortable for the client. You don't get a nice, smooth, defined line. This is a disposable razor that I dispose of in a sharps container after every client. Taking down all her peach fuzz, it will help me get a more defined line around her brows. It's going to make it look really clean. So I'm cleaning off in the center because I don't want a unibrow. And I don't know if you notice this with your clients, but anytime you draw their brows too close together, they're like freaking out. So always clean off any smudgies. A Q-tip is my best friend because it just cleans up everything really nicely. So this is the next step, sitting your client up. What do they look like? What did your brow mapping achieve? And you're gonna see that my brow mapping is hideous. This is totally normal. Don't feel like you're going to achieve the perfect brow from a client leaning back like that. This is exactly what it is supposed to happen. One brow looks like a little higher. The other brow is a little straighter. This is the time you get to decide which brow is the more flattering, the more appealing to your client. This client doesn't wear any makeup. If she was a client that wore more makeup, perhaps her right brow would be more appealing to her because there's more eyelid space. It's actually more of a flattering brow because it lifts her eyes up. However, since she doesn't wear any makeup, she's going to feel very uncomfortable with it. She could look great in both brows. This is the point to which you create a shape custom for your client. And this is the key reason how you get referrals. Because you gave this client an option. You included her. She is now connected to you. If you had just given her a shape and said, okay, this is it, let's go lay down, you've missed out on an opportunity to connect with this client and give them a more beautiful them, not a version of what you think they should look like. So this is one of my tricks, and when she sits up, not only do I take a photo, but I take a video. The purpose of this is so that I can see with a different perspective. What a photo does is it flattens you into a piece of paper. It's kind of like the photo will show you a different perspective. So I'll compare the photo side by side to my client. Sometimes it brings certain features out. For example, one brow may look higher, one brow may look lower, thicker, shorter. It's just basically another set of eyes. And you'll notice that I have her make facial expressions as I record her. Why? Why do I do this? Did you notice that after she did that, you're able to see it better? You're able to see where they are asymmetrical? So that's one of my tricks, is that I have them close their eyes during the video, open them, raise their brows, and squint. These are natural, normal expressions that you use when you talk. And the telltale indicator as to whether or not these brows are symmetrical is in the motion. Occasionally when you use a pencil, it may seem kind of like a wax. So right now I'm using this brush to kind of smudge the wax out of the brow hairs. After I blend that out, it's smudgy. I want to keep my brows really clean. So that's a little bit more concealer. She does a little bit of a lift. And you can see up close, her right brow is a little higher. It has a little bit more of a curvature than her left brow. So I'm going to go in and darken that bottom line. Just little by little, I'm going to add. This is a spoolie. So here's my third trick. She is now standing up. First, we started by her leaning 45 degrees, then sitting up. Now I'm having her stand up. Not a lot of people will tell you this, but this standing up is huge. When a client is sitting down and you're standing, they're looking up at you, and guess what else they're doing? Raising their brows. So you can see this is slowed down. So she's going to raise her brows, and you're going to notice her left brow is higher than her right brow, just so subtly. But when she squints, her right brow is a little higher. So we're trying to find the perfect balance. If you move one brow, you're going to move your right brow, the left brow back and forth and go crazy. You start running in circles. You start going back and forth, and by the time you're done, you don't even know what you're seeing anymore. This is the part that distinguishes whether or not someone is going to spend an hour to 2 hours or just 30 minutes. And this is going to be the reason why. Her left brow bone is not as prominent as her right brow bone. When something is more prominent, it pushes it up. When something is flatter, it pushes it down. So that's why this brow bone looks a little lower. We're going to check our markings. We start at the end of the lash line. We connect it to the tail of the brow, and they're the same. We look at the curvature of the brow, and that's the same. We notice that she's not having any wrinkles, so that means she's not using any of her muscles and causing us to be misled. A person's face is three-dimensional. Sometimes we forget that because when you brow map, you're trying to map a piece of paper, but it's not taking into account the dimension of asymmetrical bones being more prominent, more recessed. There's actual muscle contributions. So we want to make sure we look at our client in all perspectives. Close, which is about a foot to 2 away, and further away, which is about 4 feet away. So here's our finished product again, and I love it. If you notice that we did put a little bit of bronzer, blush, and lip gloss on her, it helps the client be able to see the finished product a little bit better, trust the process a little more, and feel excited. You want to be able to create the story and make your client visualize it with you. Okay, so we're going to do a quick recap of some of the main tips that I've kind of mentioned along the way. I know I went really fast. So the first thing we did was making sure that your client is sitting up. Then we do a photo and a video of your client to be able to see what needs adjustments. And then the third trick was having your client stand up. This will help the client have a straight back, making sure that the client is eye level to you. So if this client is really tall, make sure that they're sitting with their feet on the ground and with their back straight, eye level to you. The fourth trick is the muscle movements, making sure that your client raises her brows, squints, smiles, make the expressions that help you see it better. So guys, this is it. If you guys feel like you got some value, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I would love to hear it all.